They say life is pretty unpredictable, but I disagree with that because there's always at least 1 hour of your week you can predict, and that is on Friday nights. You're getting 1 hour of absolute garbage from AEW Rampage, and that did not change this week. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling, here to review AEW Rampage, the last AEW show before their big pay-per-view. All Out, and that is pretty much how I feel when watching AEW. I just zone all out. I don't want to watch this shit. It's garbage, but here, I'm doing it because I guess I'm a sucker for punishment. So let's go. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what happened on this absolute shit show. And we kick off with what really pisses me off about Rampage. You start and they're already in a match. You know, they've got all the participants out. They're all standing in the ring, ready to go. And it just seems so phony. Like, where's the introduction? Where's the entrances? Where's the big time feel? No, you don't get that. The show starts and there's just a bunch of bums in the ring, ready to fake fight. And the bums we got this week were Best Friends. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus the Dark Order. I fucking hate the Dark Order. This must be one of the worst factions in the entire history of professional wrestling, especially that wee guy, John Silver. I mean, the guy can barely see over the top rope. He's standing on the apron and he can barely see into the ring because the top rope is blocking his vision. Could you imagine if you took this guy to Disneyland? It would be a waste of a fucking ticket because he wouldn't be able to get on any of the rides. I doubt he wouldn't even be tall enough to get on kids' rides. The guy's a midget. How are we supposed to take him serious? And now he is going to be in the Trios Championship match because the Dark Order defeated Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. I mean, you've got to watch this match to believe how bad it is. Adam Page, how did he go? Now, I'm not a massive Adam Page fan, right? I'm not. But how did he go from being the world champ to this? To being in a tag team with John Silver and fucking Alex Reynolds? To facing Best Friends and Orange fucking Cassidy? The guy who wrestles the match with his hands in his pockets. And we had Danhausen come in, and Danhausen tried to put a spell on Adam Page. I mean, this Danhausen guy's about 70 pounds, soaking wet. I legit think this guy could hit me with a chainsaw 10 times before I was able to retaliate, and I would still kick his ass. I mean, and people said this guy was going to be a huge draw. This guy was going to, like, you know, change the face of professional wrestling. This guy was going to get AEW to beat WWE in the ratings. Fucking Danhausen. Jesus Christ. The guy's got about, what, 50,000 subs on YouTube or whatever, and maybe he's lucky if about 10 of them actually watch the show. Anyway, the Dark Order win. And later that night, we get like a backstage segment with Don Callis. He walks in and he says that he talks about Adam Page, you know, betraying his friends when they needed him most a couple of weeks ago, and he's aligned himself with the Dark Order for power and for money and for fame. Adam Page doesn't like this, but Don Callis is like, no, I appreciate it. I do the same thing, and he tells him it'll get better. I mean, let's be real. If Adam Page wanted to have glory, I mean, he'd be teaming up with fucking Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. He'd be teaming up with the Elite. He wouldn't be hanging around with these fucking mongoloids. But no, I like Don Callis. Probably one of my favourite people on AEW. I like this guy, Don Callis. Don Callis has what it takes. Don Callis knows where it's at. I mean, he's a former WWE guy. You know, I would like to see him return to WWE. This guy could cut promos for somebody. I don't know who, but this guy would be good. I'm trying to think of a faction. I reckon you could stick this guy in a faction and he could be the mouthpiece, because I like Don Callis. One of the few things on AEW that I actually like. What I don't like is bum matches where you just know the outcome, and that's what we got next. It was Rey Fenix versus some guy called Christian Blake. Apparently, he's won a couple of matches on AE Dark. That's great and all that, but nobody watches AE Dark. Nobody gives a shit about AE Dark. I mean, I could fucking have sex with Ty Conti on AEW Dark and it wouldn't count because the show's garbage. It doesn't exist. So this guy's wins on AEW Dark don't mean shit to me. Rey Fenix beats him in about 2 minutes. This is a classic Rampage match. Just that. Oh, I mean, what is the point? Like, literally, what is it? This is just to pad Rey Fenix's record. That's all it is. It's just to give Phoenix a win. And what's a win over Blake Christian do for him? Absolutely nothing. AEW do far too many of these matches on Rampage where it's an established person on the roster versus a guy we don't know. And it is purely just to get the guy we know a win. Like, honestly, I do not see the point in it. Then we go backstage. We've got Hook interrupted by the Jericho Appreciation Society. We've got Cold Hand Luke and the other guy, Matt Menard. I actually kind of like these two. They refer to themselves as sports entertainers. I'll be honest, I never really gave them a chance at the start. I was more just annoyed at Jericho being in another shit faction. But I have to say, I don't really mind these two. They are 10 times better than Daniel Garcia. They actually have a bit of personality. You know, they actually have a bit of charisma. And I wouldn't mind if this Cold Hand Luke guy beats Hook at the pay-per-view. I hope he does. Hook, for me, is boring. The guy can't talk. The guy is nothing. Apart from the fact that he's Taz's son and he has a weird haircut, he has absolutely nothing. Alright, he uses a submission move like Taz, but, I mean, Taz actually looked like a badass. Taz looked like he would kill you. I mean, if you're walking down an alley and you seen Taz, you would do a 180 and walk the other way. If you were walking down an alley and you seen Hook, you'd probably beat him up and steal his fake title. So, yeah, that's what I think of Hook. Anyway, we move on. We get Hook versus Cold Hand Luke or whatever it is at the pay-per-view. Then we get a mixed tag team match. It was Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara versus Ruby Riott and Ortiz. I could have swore we seen this match like 2 weeks ago. I think it's the exact same match. This time, Ruby Riott get the win with Ortiz. They beat Ty Conti. Ortiz and Ruby Riott go out, or Ruby Soho, whatever fucking her name is, I don't care. Freak looking bitch with the weird hair. Like the skateboarder, the goth, the emo, the punk chick. They grab the mixed title belts and they look at them. Ty Conti is like, you know, acting shocked. You can see it in the thumbnail. Commentators put over the fact that they beat the champs, therefore they should maybe get a title shot. And then, like, literally 30 seconds later, Tony Schiavone says that Tony Khan's been talking to the, you know, the AAA or the Mexican promotion that has the belts, and they said that it's official at All Out, they're going to be in a match for the titles. How the hell could Tony Khan have possibly had contacted this Mexican promotion in the space of like a minute? It's just not possible. They obviously had this match pre-booked, and yet they tried to pretend they didn't, and then 30 seconds later they said it was official. But we're supposed to believe that from the time that Soho and Ortiz won this match, that Tony Khan phoned up Mexico and fucking ordered a couple of burritos and then made this match official? Are you shitting me? No, didn't happen. Did not happen. Speaking of bad commentary, I mean, we had a spot in the opening match. JR called it was a move through a table. It was a power bomb. JR called it a power slam. Then he corrected himself and called it a choke slam. And it was fucking... No, or was it... No, wait, it was a choke slam through the table. But then JR called it a power bomb. And then he corrected himself and called it a power slam or whatever. And it's like he got it wrong on both occasions. And then in the next match with Rey Fenix, when he hits the guy, Blake Christian, he refers to him, oh, you gotta take old Yeller out to the woodshed and put him down. I hate to say this, but maybe JR is the old Yeller in this case, because JR is undoubtedly 100%. No one can tell me he is not the greatest announcer of all time. No one comes fucking close to JR. But the sad story is that he is no longer, you know, in his prime. He is nowhere near as good as he used to be. And I still like listening to JR. I wouldn't change JR. I want to hear JR when I watch wrestling. But it is kind of sad. He has declined a lot with his age. He just gets a lot of things wrong these days that I don't really ever remember, you know, back in the days. But yeah, no, come on, JR. I like you, but at least try and get the name of the moves right. What do we get after this? We get a sit-down interview with Athena and Jade Cargill. I mean, two black women calling each other bitches, being rude, being arrogant, being aggressive. Nothing new here, really, is it? This could have happened on any, you know, fucking, you know, gangster, hoodlum part of America. Nothing to see here, man. This could have been two chicks brawling in McDonald's for all we know. Right, then we get, this is awful. Then we get the Revival coming out with Wardlow. They get in the ring. Dax Hardwood takes the mic and he starts speaking about how he never felt loved and he felt he was a waste of space and he was pathetic and he was a failure. And up until 2022, he never felt like he was loved outside his circle. And it's like, what the fuck is this? I hate the Revival. This guy's a bum. This guy is a mark. This guy thinks he is something. Pretending he's better than Bret Hart. Pretending he's putting on 5-star classics. You are a nobody, man. And the other guy punched some dude when he was in handcuffs at the Hall of Fame. Oh, two big tough guys. Fucking crying in the ring about not being loved. What a joke. What an absolute joke. I mean, the only thing this guy's got in common with Austin is his fucking bald head. Apart from that, I mean, Jesus Christ, he's not even... Oh, man, it's a disgrace to even call him a professional wrestler, considering Austin was a professional wrestler. I just don't get the love for the Revival. This promo was horrendous. Talking about crying and not being loved. Jesus Christ, man. Wardlow's just standing there like, what the fuck? And then we get the Machine Guns come out and Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal and the big fucking Indian guy that sucks. And it was all just a bit of a mess, to be honest. Then more botch for the commentary team. We have you know, Mark Henry doing his whole shtick. He's got the "it's time," so he's sitting backstage with QT Marshall and Ricky Starks. QT Marshall says he promised Hobbs that he'd get the job done alone, so he's going to do it alone. He's got no factory behind him tonight. Ricky Starks says that I've gave you no choice. And then Ricky Starks points at the factory locker room and he's like barricaded it in so the factory can't get out to help QT Marshall. And then Mark Henry goes, "It's time for your main event," or whatever. And then QT Marshall runs to the locker room and he's at the door. And then the commentary team are at the ringside. And then they say, "Oh, there's something at the back. They're fighting. There's a fight broken out in the back." And then they go to the back and there's not a fight broken out. It's just QT Marshall standing at the door. And then about 5 seconds later, then he gets attacked by Ricky Starks and then the fight breaks out. And it's like, what the fuck was that? Seriously. What a disaster. I mean, they're jumping their lines. They're saying stuff's happening before it's even happened. Tower 7, anybody? Jesus Christ. Anyway, we get the match. If you don't get that reference, by the way, it's probably better that you don't. Then we get the match, and Ricky Starks wins. Who cares? Powerhouse Hobbs comes out. They get in a bit of a brawl. Daniel Bryan comes out. He confronts Jericho at the top of the announce desk. They start pushing each other, and Aew Rampage goes off the air. So there you go, guys. That was it. I mean, I like Don Callis, but I don't really like him that much. The opening match was a joke. The second match was a joke. I mean, we got to look at Ty Contai's fucking hot ass in the third match. But it didn't exactly make it great, did it? The Revival promo was a mess. The main event wasn't great. I'm going to get a 1 out of 10. I'm actually going to get a 1 out of 10. I tell you what, I actually don't mind QT Marshall and Ricky Starks. They're not the worst on AEW. I'll give them that. I will give those two that. And I guess we got to see Jericho and Daniel Bryan pushing each other. I mean, that was not bad. Anyway, 1 out of 10, guys. That's it. Normally I give this shit a 0 out of 10 or a minus, but this week it's getting a 1. So enjoy it, guys, while it lasts. All out tomorrow. We'll see what happens then. But until next time, peace.